Welcome, Hannah, to this episode of the Money Mindset Show. I'm very excited to have you here because, oh my God, the amount of conversations that we had, the amount of shifts that we have done together. Since I think ever since we got into the peer mentors group, it has been a vibe, but since Costa Rica as well, everything kind of like we entered to a new gate, like through a new era of everything. And what we're gonna talk about here today is your specialty, not because I expert whatever, no, it's because you really embody this manifestation process in every part of the world. So I'm very, very happy to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Allie. I'm so happy to be here. I love you so much and so grateful to be on your podcast. You were such an excellent guest on my podcast, and I just love you so much.
Oh, well, let's kick off with who is Hannah, what she does, and how did she ended up into the manifestation world?
That is such a great question. Okay, so like so many women, like so many people, I'm very multidimensional. I'm a multi hyphenate. I started my career in magazines, and I am working now as a freelance writer for some of my favorite brands like Vogue and Elle, and I really love being creative through my writing. But when it comes to manifestation, I started with this journey in 2007, like a lot of people, when the book The Secret came out. Somebody handed it to me at a job that I hated. I was staying at my college over the summer between sophomore and junior year, working in the athletic department in order to pay for my dorm over the summer. And if you know me, you know I'm not a sports person, but it was the only job available. But randomly, somebody handed me the book, The Secret. And I don't even remember who it was, but it was the right place at the right time, and it blew my mind. And so that was my first time learning about the law of attraction, really diving into the power of my own thought. And in college, I was really able to apply it. After that, I ended up getting some dream internships. I got an internship at the Vogue fashion closet, started working in magazines, going to events, really enjoying life in New York City. So I've
Mm,
always loved personal development. And through the years, based in New York, I was able to sign up for so many great programs that just expanded me and pushed my edges and like blew my mind. But it wasn't until 2020 when I found Catherine Zankina's podcast, the Manifestation Babe podcast, that I started to really deeply dive into, limiting beliefs. Then I signed up for her program that we met through as peer mentors. And I've just felt like I want to bring this, what I know, to everyone else. And I use manifestation in my writing work, I use it in my activism work. And then I also teach it through my Sunday Night Manifestors Club and through one on one mentorship. So, manifesting is one part of who I am, but it impacts everything that I do.
right. It's like it is just what we do as a work, but also who we are as an identity as well. I
Yes.
think I
Yes.
I love that. So here is where I want to start getting into the details of it because manifestation, let's just call it as it is, it has been a buzzword. Like, just like, I don't know, right now, what I'm seeing with the trend, financial trauma is becoming a more of a buzzword, more of a
Mhm.
trendy stuff.
Yeah.
And when it becomes trendy, people what I get from people every time that we say manifestation is like, oh, I'm just gonna close my eyes, do 3,000 affirmations, I don't know, and everything is gonna attract to me because I'm magnetic. I'm telling you this, and I'm seeing exactly the landing pages that I'm like, it's not really like that. But
Right.
how do you really understand and can explain to people in a human realistic level
Mm.
when we talk about manifestation, what we are talking about really?
Mm. Well, we live in a universe where everything is energy, including our bodies, our thoughts, everyone we interact with. And that is, I think, a concept people can easily understand. Like, you might get a bad vibe from one person. You might get a good
Yeah.
vibe from one person. You might be feeling great one day. You might put on a song that lifts your energy. Like, we all experience different waves of energy throughout the day. And I'm always aiming, and most people are, to feel as good as possible. But I think what's misleading about the world of manifestation for people who are new is that you have to feel good all the time, or that
Hmm.
manifestation is just about positive thinking. That's one small aspect to it, but I'm sure you also feel this way, is that manifestation is actually a deep spiritual process that's ongoing throughout our human existence, that can take us to some high highs, but also some low lows. And those lows actually have a lot of wisdom for us. They have a lot of lessons. It can feel really heavy, but the darkness is also a part of the manifestation process. And I actually believe that it should be embraced.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But, in my, like, my opinion, or my own definition of manifestation, after all of the work that I have done listen, I grew up with this. I was just recording a podcast with Andrew from Teledipity, and
So
we were talking
excited to
about,
hear that one.
I'm like, it's
Oh
so
my God.
good. And we were talking about spirituality, and he was sharing how his grandmother was the millennial of the 50s when she grew up, because she was into crystals, spirituality, and all of that. And he got that from her. And to me, manifestation, other than what the work can mean for everybody, is really the process of seeing with my eyes
Mm.
what I already saw with my inner self. So it's nothing that I really need to do to see it. Like, at some level, it's already here. It's just me in the process of, how do I get to see it with these eyes? And it's funny because I cannot really see with my eyes. Like, if I take my glasses off, I'm pretty blind. And it's very ironic for me, but it really is like, okay, you got it inside. You already saw it. So what needs to happen in this human 3D world, in with this emotional complexity, with this situational complexity, so that you can actually see it with your eyes right now. But that's my personal understanding of manifestation. And any process that teaches me how to get that in between done, I'm here for it, because there are processes that have worked since I was little one, that the kind of things that my mom taught me when I was going through my sickness. There are processes that I have picked up on the way from my grandmother. I mean, it's just so many different understandings, and the more I try it and the more I experiment with it, I'm like, oh, this sounds fun. This is about, like, the same thing but kind of a different perspective. So I really love that we are bringing more narratives and more ways to do this one word that everybody thinks is just closing eyes and being magnetic, because it's not.
Right. Right. Because so much of it has to do with how we are in the 3D if we're trying to manifest something that is 3D, whether that's money or a home or a baby. We do have to interact in the 3D, and our action is just as important as what's going on with us mentally.
Yes, yes. And I want to I want to ask, what is your personal process? And then it just came to me to do this kind of exercise on how you will walk somebody through your own process of manifestation. And then we can highlight how that is different from what people is perceiving. Because I think, Hannah, it's very important that, at least for the people on my podcast, to me, it's very important to show the reality of things, um as we perceive it. I don't know if that's the real truth, because what is truth, right? But
Mm-hmm.
as we perceive it from somebody like Hannah, that has manifested interview with freaking Christina Aguilera. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
some it's so cool. Well, first, Tell us about the process
Yeah.
and your biggest manifestations with that process as well.
Okay. Such a great question. And then we'll talk about Christina Aguilera because I love
Yes.
her. And how I used this exact same framework to land that interview and article for Vogue. So, through the years, I've been able to study my manifestations from afar. Like, one of my biggest manifestations has been meeting my soulmate, my husband. We've been together for 10 years, or apartments, or dream jobs, or free trips, or anything like that. So I've had the clarity of looking at my patterns and backing into them. And for me, it's a 4-step process. And I see it visually, because I'm a visual person, as a map. Like, you start here with desire, and within your desire is energy and intention. The final step is it's yours. And then it's gratitude and a new level of reality. But what's in between? It's not super complicated. Usually, after the first step of desire, I enter, and a lot of people enter, not always, but a period that I like to call uncertainty valley. So imagine you're starting at the top left of this manifestation map, and then you're swooping down to uncertainty valley. And you might be excited about setting your intention, deciding on your desire, your desire just pops into your head. But then maybe if it hasn't happened yet, or if a couple days go by, this period of uncertainty valley might bring up shame or impatience or a desire to downgrade what you want. Like, oh, I wanted to make a 10K month, but that's probably too much, so I'm just going to make it a 5K month because that's more doable. Or
Right.
I don't really deserve this, or where is it already, or like, is this happening? Does manifestation work? And so uncertainty valley it can be something that, of course, is not fun, but that's where we start to do like our inner work. That's where so much of our growth can come from. And I think just knowing that that's a natural part of the manifestation process, and it's part of the journey, reminds you that you are still on the journey, even if you feel like absolute shit, even if it feels like your reality is completely misaligned with what you actually want. So uncertainty valley is so important to know, because a lot of times we just get stuck there and we don't leave, not realizing that this is just a step. That's okay. It is
Right.
completely natural and human to feel these things. The next step after that is release and trust. And there are so many tools that you can do to get to a place where you believe, you trust that what you want is on its way to you, and that the how, you release and trust that the how is not your job to figure out, but your guide's job to figure out. The universe force is much more intelligent and smarter than you. And then when you're in that place in release and trust, which is step 3, it's so much easier and more pleasurable on the way to step 4, where it finally manifests. So having a 4-step process, for me, the gold for me here is like, even when I'm feeling uncertain, and I feel uncertain a lot. Usually I have weeks of the month where I don't feel great because of my, menstrual cycle. That is completely normal. Or if it's winter and my body wants to just winter, I allow myself to go into those valleys, and I know that eventually I'm going to come back up. And I know that next time the valley's not going to be as low and as deep, because every time I go through it, I'm learning how to alchemize. I'm learning how to trust and get to that, step 3 and 4 a lot quicker.
I love it. I love it for 2 reasons. One, because you mentioned that in the valley, that uncertainty is where the most personal growth happens. And it
Yeah.
makes sense, right? Because we want to control everything. Like, we say, no, I'm not controlling, but as a human beings, we want to control everything. It's
Mhm.
just a normal thing for survival. The
Yes.
more that you can control, the better your chances of survival are in this earth. So it's very humanistic to try
Yes.
to control and to not be uncertain. So it makes sense that in that valley, in that period, you look for the tools that will help you the most to get to that controlling, right? To that
Yes.
certainty again. But then after that step, it's like, I can just imagine, and I'm a visual person as well. I come from a city with high mountains, so the Andes mountains are across my city, and I see it every day. And they are like
Beautiful.
just like it has a huge peak, and then it goes super down.
Yeah.
And I'm just imagining like we're starting the peak of the mountain, and then you go all the way down, which is the city, by the way. Oh, this I'm liking this.
Mm-hmm.
Because my city in Colombia, it's a valley, so we all live under, like, on the bottom of the mountain, and we get reminded that we are protected
Mm.
by the mountains
Wow.
because we are in the valley.
Wow.
How mind-blowing is that for this process? It's like literally we are protected
Wow.
from the sea or from other things. That's why they build the city on the bottom of the mountain for protection. And that valley is where everything develops. But then after that, you gotta release it. Like, you have done all of your work, it's not
Mm-hmm.
up to you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
How has really walk us through this process with Christina Aguilera, which is, I know, your most
Yes.
exciting
Yes.
recent manifestation. And then we kind of like, I want to walk in a scenario with money, how this may
Yes.
look like.
Yes. Such great questions. So, little background. I am obsessed with Christina Aguilera. I love her so much, and it's beyond a fandom. It's not, anything unhealthy, but since she came out in 1998, I've just felt a really deep connection to her. And, we think about it's easy to admire somebody who, singers or celebrities, but it felt like more than that. It felt like a deeper connection. And as I've gotten older, I've realized, oh, there's a reason that we're attracted to the people that we're attracted to. Whether they're famous or not, I think that it means that we're meant to interact with them. We're meant to meet them. They're impacting our lives in some way. And maybe we're meant to impact their lives. So back in 2006, I was newly a sophomore in college. And I had just moved to New York City. My boyfriend at the time wanted to go out to dinner in Tribeca. I didn't know Manhattan very well at all. I don't think I'd ever even had sushi before. He wanted to go get sushi, but I was just along for the ride, right? And at that point in my life, Christina Aguilera's third album had just come out, Back to Basics. Actually, she also had Spanish language album. She had a Christmas album. So
Yeah.
technically, it was like her fifth album. But anyway, it was like her third major album, Back to Basics. And I had a framed picture of the cover next to my bed that semester. So anyway, we go into the city. We pop into this little sushi place. And who's the first person that I see? Christina Aguilera sitting right there with her family. And
Wow.
I basically blacked out. Now, this is before I'd read the book, The Secret. I didn't know much about manifestation, but I had this feeling that I had attracted her into my life somehow. Like, it felt fated and it felt meant to be. Also, being so new to New York, never having grown up in Pennsylvania, I was not used to seeing celebrities. Like, this was major for me. Like, this was so major. So I could barely speak, and I told my boyfriend, and he got so angry with me. And he said, if you go speak to her, I will break up with you. This is my birthday. It's about me. You will embarrass me. So
What?
yes. So being young and 19, I listened to him and regrettably did not say anything to her. So that was
Hmm.
18 years ago. That was 18 years ago, Allie. So that's where this story
Yeah.
starts. It starts with the desire that's been there, and also a knowing that it wouldn't be my last time connecting with her. I just knew. So the desire was, I knew Christina, let's back up a couple months to last October. I knew Christina was coming to Vegas with a new residency. And as a writer for Vogue.com who writes a lot about music, I was like, this is a great opportunity to cover this residency for Vogue. So one of the best brands, and it would be an opportunity to interview one of my favorite people. That was the desire, right? Like, that is
Yeah.
step one, desire. So then throughout October, November, I'm in Uncertainty Valley. I'm going back and forth with her team. I'm not sure if this is going to happen. Like, I don't know when the timing might be. There's not a lot of communication. I'm stressing out and I'm worrying. Now, worrying is the opposite of certainty. Like, a lot of us have addictions to worrying because there's so much that we possibly could worry about. And one of the
Yep.
things that I feel is my journey in life is to break addictions to worry for myself and for others. But it still got me. I was still in Uncertainty Valley because I was like, man, I want this to happen so bad. But also, I had to get to a place where I just trusted that it would. I was like, I wouldn't be led this far to not see this through. So there were months of
Right.
uncertainty. The article didn't come out till January, but we had started this journey in October, and there was a lot of up and down to the point where I needed to like do release rituals where I just let it go. And then finally, I got to a place of release and trust because I knew that that is the energy that I needed to be in, A, to just feel good for myself, right? Which is
Right.
worthy enough. But B, that's an energy that then other people feel. That's an energy that's like a slip and slide for my manifestation to come to me, you know?
Right. Right.
So after doing my release rituals, I swear to you, Allie, like an hour later, I got an email from her team inviting my husband and I to see the opening night of her show in Vegas. And I was like, okay, we don't have an interview date yet, but I think we're getting close. So my husband and I go to Vegas. We have the best time we've ever had. It was for New
Wow.
Year's. We got to see her opening show. We were front and center in this beautiful small venue. And it was just like Dave and I, my husband, were just looking at each other the whole time because he knows, how much I love Christina. Just like, I can't believe I've manifested this. Like,
Look
this
at
is
me.
so
Yeah.
incredible. We were sitting next to her fiance. Like, it was just the coolest thing. I was
Wow.
like, even if the interview doesn't happen, manifesting works. Like, here I am, just having this beautiful experience. And then a week later, I followed up with her team and they were like, let's schedule the interview. And there were so many more times that I had opportunity to dive into Uncertainty Valley again, worrying what if the interview gets scheduled or rescheduled or
Right.
moved or
Right.
canceled? Like anything could happen with a celebrity of this level and their schedule, but I just stayed really calm. And when I interviewed her over Zoom, I knew that I had to be very calm because I wanted to tell my nervous system it's safe to get what you want.
It's normal.
It's
Yeah.
normal. Like manifesting something of this level, manifesting your dreams is normal and natural, and I would like more of that, please. So I really grounded myself, through breathing, through this process that I have called leveling, which is where in meditation, I bring whatever or whomever I'm wanting to manifest right into my field. I take them off whatever pedestal they're at or however far of reach they feel, and I bring them right into my field. And usually, like, maybe I'll imagine myself hugging them or connecting our hearts, and I just put myself on a level
Yeah.
of what I want so that it's
Oh
not
my
far away or
God.
out of reach. So I felt very grounded when I did this, and I really wanted to connect with her on a spiritual level. And in the interview, she was so down to earth, warm and open, and she shared some things with me that were so precious about her daughter and the love for her daughter, where she almost started to cry, that it was just absolutely so beautiful. Like, it was just so beautiful. So I wrote the piece in a day. It came out. Her team loved it. She loved it. She posted about it. And it was such an incredible experience from top to bottom. And then people.com ended up picking up the story, AOL, Yahoo, all these other outlets picked up on a question, a part of the interview that I asked her, where I kind of just used my intuition. And it was about her word of the year. Now, the point of this story, the interview was to talk about her residency, but I had this intuition to ask her, like, what's your word of the year? Because I have a word of the year. And
Yeah.
she shared that her word of the year was dotager, it was a little random. I feel like she didn't truly understand me, but it led to this gorgeous conversation about how much she loved her daughter and how her daughter is her protector, and a spiritual healer told her that before she was born. And that's the piece that ended up getting all this press afterwards. So then step 4, it happened, it was mine, and I got to integrate a new level within myself of like what I'm capable of, and also express so much gratitude. So completely move through the map, the manifestation map, through that whole process, several month process.
Yeah.
But it happened, and now we're at this new level, baby.
How mind blowing is that? And I actually got goosebumps of hearing first your visualization of gratitude, putting in that level, talking about the energetics of everything, putting in that level, but also kind of like getting into that depth with somebody like Christina Aguilera. Um, I have not met many artists or famous people. I mean, I have met famous people, not like Beyonce or these people that everybody knows, right? And I can only imagine that they are adjusted to talking a surface level for these
Yes.
interviews,
Yes.
right? Like after all, you kind of rehearse what you're gonna talk about, because there is people that destroys you and you don't really know who is that other person that you are giving your time to, right? I mean, we can all see the haters on internet and everywhere, right? And for her to really open up in such an essential and an intimate topic and giving the warmth, it only really is because of your intention. I can only relate it to
Thank you.
your intention.
Yeah.
Because it is really what we receive, right? What we put out there is what we receive. Um, and I love it. And I got to really read the whole interview, and I was like, these are like kind of two friends talking. This doesn't feel like it is an interview, like, oh, tell me what you move or whatever. It's just like, listen, finally I get to sit down with you and take that coffee that we were meant to take 18 years ago, but my stupid boyfriend didn't, and I
Yes.
listened to him.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes. 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 Thank you. You're so right. I'm so grateful to hear you reflected back to me that way. Thank you. That means
Oh,
so much.
it's so amazing to see from the outsider the process, because I know once you're insider, it feels like shit. I mean, there's some months that I am
Yes.
going through it right now.
Yes.
Well, with the book
Yes.
and with the publications. So I kind of do my own PR because I like to do interviews and write for these articles, and I've been published before Yahoo Finance and all of these. But I left it for a while, and now I'm feeling like, you know what? I'm gonna take this again. So that includes a lot of pitching to different outlets,
Yes.
to different freelancers, outlets, and everything. And you hear nothing. It's literally nothing until one of those hit. So in the meantime, your mind is going like, well, you're not enough, or who wants to read about this, or blah 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 blah. It's all this uncertainty, and you gotta be so comfortable with it. um and I think the best way to do it is to start with things that quote unquote don't matter to you, or that's how I started it
Mhm.
personally.
Mhm.
I don't know
Mhm.
how you started to test it out, and I'm
Yeah.
curious to hear about that. But in my case, I would test it out with stupid stuff that I
Mhm.
know. I'm like, cup of coffee, like I'm gonna get a cup of coffee today.
Mhm.
um
Mhm.
and that kind of like
Yes.
build up in
Yes.
itself.
Yes. Absolutely. Like, manifesting is a practice. It's a muscle. And it's so funny because I think I started with a cup of coffee too. It's so funny that that's like the starting point. It's like manifest a free cup of coffee. And I swear it works.
Yeah.
Like, especially for people who are new to this. I remember telling my friend about manifesting, and she was handed like a free cup of coffee, like, because she went to like a marathon or something. And she was like, wait a second, this is crazy. Yeah. It, I think starting small and believable and then building up trust in yourself, really helps. knowing that if anything comes up that feels like it derails you, like maybe we want to talk about money now, like maybe you get a
Yeah.
big bill in the mail, maybe you're trying to manifest money, but you get a big bill in the mail or your taxes are due. And it can be really, really hard to live in that belief and trust that energy matters, that there's more than the 3D, that we can change things with our vibration, because we have so much, as you know, trauma, which feels very heavy, attached to things like money. We probably have voices in our head from family members or partners, even, or ourselves, or old bosses that reinforce things like you have to work really hard to make the
Hmm.
amount of money that you want. I remember my 10th grade science teacher saying, if you guys don't do well in this class, that will impact what college you get into, what kind of car you drive, and what kind of house you live in. So she basically said, and I was not
Jesus.
good. I was not good in that class. Sorry, it was a chemistry class. And I will never forget she said that, because it scared me. And I was like, does this mean I'm doomed forever if I don't like
Yeah.
get an A in this class? But those are the kind of messages that we hear throughout our life, things that don't actually have truth for us. They might have
Yeah.
truth for those people and a lot of people, but we get to decide. And if that's delusional, I don't care,
No.
because it works. Everything's
I know.
delusional. We're living in one big delusion. So you might as well
Exactly.
choose what makes you feel good.
I know. And you know what? It's interesting that you mention it. If we zoom in into the money side of it, because for somebody, and here is my tweak of everything, for somebody that believes that getting bills and expenses are not being on the side of money, are not being part of the money flow, that is going to affect. But my perspective is that if you're getting bills, you are receiving that flow.
Oh, Allie, so
It's
good.
just right. It's different, but it opens up everything, because who said that money is just money equation of coming in? It doesn't work like that. The money equation is money in, money out, money invested, money out. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's literally a flow. If you
Mm-hmm.
think about a flow or a waterfall, is literally going through the mountains, coming, getting down and looking the way to go to the river. It doesn't stay on the waterfall forever. That's literally the flow
Mm,
of it. So bills are part of the equation. Now, how you react to the bills, it's part of the financial trauma that needs to be cleared up. What
mm,
that bills you receive in that bill means to you, and the kind of thoughts that you have, that is the part to clear up. But it's not meaning that you're not having the flow. You are actually in the flow of
yeah.
money, right? It's
Oh.
it's different. And then when we think about um manifestation as the process that you have described, many, especially entrepreneurs, many people that is building businesses and that is putting themselves out there, see this manifestation process as the only thing that I have to do when it comes to money is to manifest more money. Because, right, that's the kind of like the thing that we measure success. Let's put it in those words. So the
Mhm.
thing that you would use to measure success is if you're having more money coming in every single time. But there is so many wrong misconceptions about that, because like the process of manifestation, entrepreneurship has its own values as well, right? Its own growth that needs to happen. Businesses are not. Oh, wait 1 second. Something happened.
Ooh, it
Oh,
just
there you
froze
go.
for a sec.
Business.
I see
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
for a second. Weird. Okay. I was just saying that the processes are not always one side coming in. With your process of manifestation, it's not only, oh, I desire, then I close eyes and then I'm there. It's I desire and I really go into how even how I'm interpreting this vision that I have.
Mm.
Because when you mention your story with Christina, you may say, well, it started last October. I think it started 18 years ago.
Yes, 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 yes.
Right?
So true. Mm-hmm.
And then it took you into a valley for whatever reason that this guy um, did what he did. It took you for 18 years to really get into that valley doing whatever, and then getting into October into that releasing. So it is not only about like vision, here we go. It is not only about saying this month I'm going to make 10K months. It's also seeing what are the structures that you are allowing yourself in this 3D world, what we talk about, that will allow you to get there logically as well. I think
Yes.
that's like my super personal opinion, logically about money and how I approach manifestation with money, especially because it is so many narrative out there like do the 100K in 90 days, but is it really you are going to like your nervous system, your understandings, your belief system is going to see, not even to manifest it, but to see the vision that you can have, or that you will have, or that you have those 100K in 90 days. I don't know.
Yeah. I love all of the references to nature that you've brought up. Like you've brought up like the mountains in your city, and you've brought up the waterfalls and the flow. And I think like when we are talking about money and the 3D, we think of the 3D sometimes as like these like horrible hard structures, you know, like buildings and capitalism and whatever. But nature is also 3D. And in nature there's so much we don't see. We don't see the clouds collecting condensation. We don't see the root systems, you know, under the earth that are, you know, with the trees talking to each other. So even in the 3D nature, we can get so much knowledge and beauty and proof when it comes to money and manifestation through nature, just like you said, like the flow, like the river. And I love, love, love what you said about being, you know, reframing, getting bills as being in the flow. And when you came on my podcast, you said something that made so much sense that I just never heard before, even though it's so simple, which is feeling gratitude for receiving and for spending money, like feeling gratitude to spend and circulate the money and to be in that flow. Like that's so powerful. Like you just equalized those things in such a beautiful way where it's not like, oh, of course I'm happy to receive money and like I'm not as happy to spend it, but you just reframe it in such a beautiful way. So thank you for
uh,
everything you just said.
oh no, I'm so happy that that is stuck with you, because let's put the manifestation process that you share with us here, and I want to dive into the Sunday Manifestation Club. There
Yes,
you go.
Sunday night manifestors club. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sunday Night Manifestors Clubs. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in a moment, but if we really see the 4 steps framework that you have shared with money and with everything for that matter, um, you know what? I would change it. Not with money, with my pregnancy. Which, by the way, I told you guys I'm gonna do a whole episode about the learnings that this pregnancy has given me, because it has been
Can't wait.
so freaking mind blowing. Ah,
I'm so excited for
I'm
that.
doing a whole list. But if I look at my pregnancy, I think I have always known that I wanted kids deep down. I never recognized it. So when I found out that I was in fact pregnant, I went into this worry mode, worried about. Also, I went because of me, but also because of the doctors. So one of the things that they made me aware, quote unquote, made me aware, was overweight. So overweight people have this problems with the pregnancy. You should be careful, blah blah blah. And with my condition, um, medical condition that I had from a long time ago, the immune system health condition, we're like, even you now need to be careful, don't do. And I'm all these worries coming up and coming up, and I'm like, at some point, I was like, listen, this is like being pregnant is the proof that everything manifests without me doing absolutely nothing.
Mhm.
I didn't decide, okay, now is your time to go. No, she decided, I'm coming. I didn't decide, well, now is your week 22. You have to grow this way. No,
Right.
it's just like, I am just here. I'm just a freaking body for
Yeah.
this to happen.
Yeah.
And I really have to do nothing in order to happen. Of course, it's my desire to help or to support the growing up of this little person, to raise this little soul. Of course, I want that. But it's not up to me,
Mhm.
anything else. It is really out of my control, everything that can happen. And the good thing is that it's so perfectly done that you got a human being after 9 months in your hands.
Wow. Wow. It is magic. It's magic. So it's like
It truly is.
you're basically going through the map process, like with the baby, with the pregnancy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So it was my desire. It wasn't my desire. It wasn't my conscious desire or my spoken desire for a long time. Then something happened, and then I changed it. Like, yes, it is my conscious desire. Then I forgot about it. I kind of like, well, it's gonna happen whenever it happens. When
Mhm.
I became aware of it, all the worries started. And I think most of moms will tell you that their brain accelerates on worries because it kind of like zooms in on it.
Mhm.
But I had to make the conscious decision of what you said, the third step of releasing and trust.
Mhm.
Because in fact, there is nothing that I can do. There is nothing I can do right, and there is nothing I can do wrong, because
Mhm.
it is nature working as its best. It's manifestation working at its best.
Mm.
Like, how mind blowing is to think that even if I sleep throughout my whole pregnancy, there is going to be a human being developing.
Right. Wow, I love that's so powerful. There's nothing I can do right. There's nothing I can do wrong. I love that. That sounds like
Right?
RRT. Is that
It
RRT?
is.
Yeah. So good.
It is, and really, RRT helped me through this releasing of worry and anxiety. And now that you say it, it reminded me the first week when I got bombarded with the overweight. They kind of doctors sometimes have their way to say things,
Mhm.
but this doctor told, I was like, well, because you are overweight, you haven't been done whatever needed to be done with your body properly, then this is gonna happen. It made me feel like a bad mom already, and I had like 20 weeks, no, or not even, because my blood pressure got up. So it was just like, oh, am I responsible for that? Like, am I killing my kid even before this happened? Like, what are you talking about? It made me feel so guilty,
Mhm.
and I had
Mhm.
to turn into the RT, and I was like, John, like, I'm such a bad mom. I was like, what are you talking about? It's just a fact
Mhm.
of life that is going to happen. And he kind of cleared this stuff for me.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it would have been such a different journey. Like,
Wow.
the person that you met in Costa Rica wouldn't be that person. Absolutely
Wow.
not. It
Wow.
was, it took me deep into that valley of uncertainty
Wow.
for one
Mhm.
comment from the authority of medical whatever that
Right.
she is.
Right. Wow. Oh my gosh, what a journey that you've been on. I'm so glad that you had the tools too, and like the support to get you out of there, because I think anyone who meets you knows you're such an excellent mom already, and you're going to be
Oh,
such an
thank
excellent
you.
parent because you're such a beautiful person. Like everyone sees that, you know?
Oh, you are so
Yeah,
sweet. I mean, I probably will fucked up this kid too, but it doesn't matter. We have the tools
you've
to
got
clear
tools.
that.
Yes,
Exactly.
totally.
So talk to us about the Sunday night manifestation club. How do you work in there? What you guys do, and why it will be an irresistible for somebody that wants to, be a manifester 100% to be in here.
Ooh, such a good question. I started Manifestors Club in October because I was like, I have so much to share, and I just want to share and bring everyone up on this journey with me. Like, all these magical things are happening in my life, and I want magical things to happen for other people. So I was like, all right, we're going to meet once a week for 4 weeks on Sunday nights Pacific time. So from 5:30 to 6:45, and every week in those 4 weeks is a different step in the manifestation map. So first week is desire, second week is uncertainty valley, third week is release and trust, and fourth week is it's yours. And I have beautiful presentations for every single um, week, and then we do Q&As, and the women, and we haven't had any men yet, I don't think, but I welcome masculine energy into the club. But the women have been from all over the world, so supportive of each other. There have been women who have never manifested, and then there have been women like from our peer mentorship group who are like deep into manifestation work. And I just love the energy that transpires from the club, and we stay connected through WhatsApp. We have accountability partners, and I just wanted it to feel easy, digestible, fun, and empowering for people to believe that what they want is possible for them. And I feel so grateful because that's the feedback that I continue to get from people. About a quarter of people who have signed up for one club round have done it again because the vibes and the energy are just that good. And I
Yeah,
think the 4 week structure and just having an hour and 15 minutes of live sessions every Sunday just keeps it digestible. It keeps it easy. It keeps it light, and it keeps it fun. So that's the process. And as I've grown it, it just continues, the energy, the channeling that I'm getting to put into these presentations continues to grow. And then the feedback that I'm getting from people who have left the club have been like, I'm still feeling incredible energy from this. Things keep manifesting. It is such a gorgeous container, and it just feels so sacred and so special to me. So I'll be continuing it this year. We're starting again on 3/3, dates later in the year to come, but it's just been the most beautiful portal for manifesting, whether you've been doing this for forever or whether you're brand new to it.
I love it. I love it because it is so freaking important to have a container where you can be everything that you want to be.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that this world really doesn't allow us to be fully in that container, all of us. So we have to
Yeah.
create these safe containers, and it's so magical when that happens because you get into the energy, not only for manifesting but for the mood to talk about this stuff. We
Yes.
created a container like that in Costa Rica, and I still
Yes.
I'm mind blown by the conversations that we had. I mean, people,
I'm still in it.
don't
Yeah.
you don't imagine how deep
You can't
we
you
went.
can't even know. It was my dream. I could not have dreamed up a more special, beautiful, delicious, potent group of women,
I
place
know.
to stay, experience, energy than that trip. I
Yeah.
knew it would change everything for me, and it has.
I know,
It
I
has.
know. It has, for me, it changed it since the moment I took the plane um to Costa Rica. It was my first class return trip that I've done in my life. Like I said,
Mm,
this is I am paying first class tickets, going and coming back because that is the energy that I am embodying. And people, that energy was like the entry of it, because everything that we experienced was so different. And the best part of everything is that, what, 4 5 months ago, how long was it? It was November, right?
It was end of November.
End of
It was the
November. So,
very last days of November.
yeah,
So yeah,
three
3
months
months. Yeah.
and we still feel that. That's the power of a safe container. And now imagine that same power going into the Sundays nightclub. Like, what? You have to
Thank
go.
you.
No, you have to
Thank
go
you.
and share. And yeah, it's really true. Also, the branding. When you see the landing page for the Manifestors Club, you will see what I mean when I tell you the landing page gives you the vibe of it. The clouds, and it's funny that you mentioned the nature with the clouds, because it really,
That's true.
it it goes through it. You don't see the condensation process, you don't see anything that the clouds are doing, but it gives you the sense of tranquility. It gives you, like, everything is, well, I'm gonna put it in the show notes. First link that you're gonna find there, so go and check it out, because you want to be on this container for at least for these 4 weeks that Hannah is opening. I'm not sure that this is gonna air by the time 3 comes, but I'm sure that she's gonna have a waiting list there, so you can put yourself there and be the first one to know when it opens up. My love, I
Thank
think
you.
we are coming to the end of this. So if anything else that you would like to share with the audience before we say goodbye, and how they can find you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me. I love your energy. I love being in your space. You've totally lifted me up. I think I'm inspired just to go back to the nature metaphor, which is like, I hope that your manifesting journey feels like you're sliding on a rainbow. And even if you slide on a rainbow into a cloud, maybe that's your valley. May it be a soft, bouncy landing. And then you just get
Ah,
right back up on
yeah.
that rainbow.
Oh, I love it. You see, I'm telling you that that freaking landing page has power.
Thank you. I've had a lot of fun with the branding.
So, how people can find you?
People can find me on Instagram at Hannah Summerhill, or they can find my website at hannahsummerhill.com. That has my Christina Aguilera interview. That has a link to my podcast. That has a link to the Manifestors Club. So you'll find everything at hannahsummerhill.com.
I love it. Thank you so much, Hannah, for being here.
Thank you.